great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Next time you're online looking for landscaping inspiration, open Instagram and check out Southern Gent Landscaping. They can help make your yard your dream outdoor oasis. Southern Gent Landscaping can handle it all, from landscape maintenance and installation to irrigation and hardscapes, even AstroTurf. Turn your yard into a landscape you'll be proud to show off. Call Southern Gent Landscaping at 256-509-6088. 509-6088. Southern Gent Landscaping. Professional landscaping performed with satisfaction guaranteed.
You need a lawyer and pick up the phone. I'm attorney Gary Lackey. When you call for a lawyer, where does that phone ring? It might be in a call center somewhere, maybe 100 miles away, but my phone rings in my office.
The Lackey Law Firm.
I'm attorney Justin Lackey. My phone rings in my office too.
So does mine. I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. And when you've been hurt and need help, we're here. We're the ones who take your call.
And get what you deserve.
You want to talk to your lawyer. You don't want to reach a call center. With the Lackey Law Firm, that never happens.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And this is the most important part. We'll treat you like family, because that's exactly what we are.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And I'll go you one better. If you can't come to us, we'll come to you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
From the University of Alabama, this is Crimson Tide Today. It's a daily update on Bama sports and it's brought to you by CB&S Bank. Bank anywhere, at any time with CB&S Bank's digital solutions. Managing your finances has never been so easy. Hello again, everybody. I'm Roger Hoover. On Monday, Alabama football begins preparations for the season opener against Western Kentucky. Here are thoughts from Crimson Tide head coach Kalen DeBoer.
We're getting close, and the guys are certainly getting to that point. I don't want to say we're there yet, but getting to that point where we need to hit someone else, and see where we're at. But we'll start getting into some Western Kentucky here over the weekend, some prep on that. There's been some things here and there that we've done, just putting film in front of them and a couple looks here and there. But this will really where we kind of dial in and focus specifically on them. So putting our depth charts together here over the weekend, got obviously a pretty good idea in all phases where things are going with most of them, but just really dialing in. And
I'll have more in a moment.
CB&S Bank has a long history of stability and a legacy of serving our community's needs for generations. You could say we know a thing or two about tradition. We've been family, community, and financially strong since we began in 1906. Being a team player is part of our culture. That's why at CB&S Bank, we're proud to sponsor the University of Alabama Athletics and prouder to take the field or court with you. Visit cbsbank.com today. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Join us tomorrow for Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, streaming live at 2 p.m. Central on all CTSN social media platforms. During football season, Crimson Drive is now twice a week, streaming live on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m. on all CTSN social media platforms. Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by CB&S Bank. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Welcome in on a Monday. Talking Ball, we're back, we're live, we're brand new. It is time, and I tell you what, 256-576-4977. Safe travels into work, into school, wherever you may be headed on this Monday. If this past Saturday is any indication of what we are going to get this weekend for college football. Oh, boy. Get your appetizers ready, your snacks ready, and everything, because you're not going to want to miss a minute. It all started off across the pond in Ireland, 24-21. Georgia Tech knocks off Florida State, becoming one of 5 unranked teams to beat an AP top 10 team to open the conference season in the past 40 years. Now, we don't get a lot of conference matchups like that to begin the year, so that's why it's been 40 years. But Georgia Tech gets it done. They get it done over Florida State.
Yeah, they do. We talked all week. We had Chuck Oliver on. We talked about it, that we just had a sneaky feeling that this game was going to be closer than the point spread was predicted. And it started out about 13, and the Sharps were all betting down on Georgia Tech. And then I'm going to make a statement that I think is going to be true until the end of time. You will never win a national championship with a team with half of your starters from the transfer portal. Okay? You're just not.
After about 5 minutes of watching that football game, and I know it's going to happen the rest of the season, and it's going to happen in week 1 at nauseum, I got tired of hearing, well, this guy is transferred from X school. This guy is transferred from X school. This guy is transferred from X school.
Well, see, it's hard to mesh, man, okay? It's just really hard to mesh.
Right.
And to come together as a football team. And if you're DJ Uiagalelei overrated, and you've already been to, this is like your 3rd school, who gives a rat's ass if you were a 5-star quarterback in high school? It doesn't mean anything now. Zero.
Same problems that were at Clemson.
But let me say it, though. It wasn't his fault that they lost, okay? He's just not that dude, okay? He's not going to be able to carry you to win. No. But he also
wasn't asked to win games at Oregon State. They
or Clemson, for the matter of fact, to be honest with you. But he was 19 of 27, okay, for less than 200 yards. But he didn't turn it over, all right? So he didn't do a bad job of managing the game. But he did not make a difference in the game. He cannot carry a team. That is not what he can do.
13 of the 19 passes were 5 yards or
less.
less.
I know. And Scott, look, man, when you're and a lot of his deep balls, I mean, I could throw a deep ball about that good. But anyway, I'll just say that you don't trust your quarterback when it's 3rd and 6 a few times or 3rd and 8 and you're running the freaking football. And now I will say this: he had one really good ball. To the Alabama transfer who played well. He had 4 catches, I thought, anyway. Malik Benson. Yeah. He threw a really good 4th down ball because I really didn't understand. It was like 3rd down and 8 or 9, and they ran the football for like 2 yards. I'm like, what are you doing? And then I was like, okay, wait a minute. At first I thought, okay, he's taking the points. Okay, like he didn't trust his quarterback, so he's going to kick it. They've got to score 10 to win. So I'm thinking they're going to trust their kicker who's already boomed like a 59-yarder. So he's going to kick this, try to get a stop, get the ball back, and win the game. Then they go for it on 4th down, and he trusts the quarterback, and he throws a strike. So it was just sort of some of the coaching decisions were questionable. But I got to give Brent Key credit. I was critical of him as Alabama, as offensive line coach, and as a recruiter. But just like Dabo, you sometimes fall into a job with circumstances. Well, Dabo did that with Clemson as an interim coach. Brent Key did the same thing, and Dabo's had a great run at Clemson, and Key is doing a good job at Georgia Tech. I mean, I like the way they play. I mean, they ran the football.
190 yards on the ground. They averaged 5.3 yards per carry. They had 3 touchdowns against what some people thought in the preseason. This is why sometimes you can't.
What have I said, Scott? What do I hate? Just tell me what I hate.
You hate preseason rankings.
I hate them. I was just screaming from my couch.
Yes.
Preseason rankings. They're awful.
And a lot of people believed. Now, look. There's a lot to unfold here, but a lot of people believe that Florida State has the potential to have one of the best defensive lines in all of college football.
Did it look like it on Saturday?
It did not look like it on Saturday. Now, this is where you're going to get a lot of this overreaction because it was one game. Now, Florida State, here's the thing. Florida State, in the BCS era and the college football playoff era, that loss to Georgia Tech on Saturday would put Florida State in an abysmal hole. I mean, they would, yes. Yes, you would have to win out and hope to goodness you get help along the way. Now with the 12-team playoff, we don't know how that is going to affect Florida State, the loss. But what we do know is that since 1983, there has not been a team to lose their opener and go on and win the national championship game.
Yeah.
The last team to do it was Howard Schnellenberger's Miami Hurricanes back in 83. So that is what one loss can do for you or hurt you, but we don't know what it'll do. Florida State can go on and win the ACC. They can win the ACC championship. They can get the automatic berth. They can be in.
Yeah, because we don't really know how good Georgia Tech is yet.
Right.
They may very well be a really good football team. And we talked about how many starters they had back on both sides of the ball and having 4 offensive line starters back. And they won the game up front on the offensive and defensive lines. They just because if you look at those stats, right? I believe Florida State finished with 98 rushing yards, and about 60 or about 73 of them were on the first drive. And so they could not run the football the rest of the dang game.
Of all of the teams that played on Saturday, all of the teams, Florida State is the only football team to not rush for 100 yards.
And that was supposed to be their strength, the offensive line, and then the running back, Roydell Williams started, had a decent game, and he scored a touchdown. It wasn't a great one. And TJ Ferguson, the other transfer, played quite a bit on the offensive line. So we already talked about it. Malik Benson, Roydell Williams, and TJ Ferguson, they all played quite a bit. They transferred from Alabama.
7 former Alabama players on the roster for that Florida State Georgia Tech game on Saturday.
The other 2, Earl Little had 1 tackle, so he didn't do a whole lot yet, and really couldn't stay out of the training room at Alabama. We'll see if he's any good. Sean Murphy, I didn't even see his name called, so I don't even know that if he's healthy or if he was on the field at all for Florida State. I was told he's not very good, so I'll just go ahead and call it. And you know what? I don't give a rat's whatever. I don't care if they're college kids. They're all getting paid, so you can tell if somebody sucks, okay? I don't want to hear this boo-hoo-hoo stuff. Or he's a college kid, you can't say anything. Bull crap, yes, I can. So I heard he can't play dead in a B Western. So he may not even be a factor. We'll see. Maybe he will be later on, but he wasn't a factor in that game. And you're talking about Kevin Harris II.
Yep.
I didn't hear his name called, so I don't really know. And that's at Georgia. And then Christian Leary did play some. He's a wide receiver. Not sure he had a catch because look, Tech didn't throw it but about 16 times. They
didn't need to.
No,
they didn't need to.
Now I thought they had an unmitigated disaster on the last drive where they screwed the snap up. You know, I was having like PTSD from Alabama last year. I thought, oh no! But then they ran a screen pass and got most of the the yardage back at least to get the field goal off. So I give Georgia Tech credit. They won that game straight up. Now we'll see how good Florida State is because they're going to have some time off. I think they play a week from, I want to say Monday or something against Boston College. So we'll see if they can bounce back. But their backs are definitely against the wall. I don't believe in DJ Uiagalelei as a difference maker. So that's why I have doubts about Florida State. I don't think – look, I'll just be honest with you. I think he's the 3rd best quarterback in the state of Florida because I think Cam Ward is a really good player that Miami got. We'll see how he fits there. But then, and we all know Graham Mertz, he's underrated. I think he's a good player at Florida. I just don't think FSU has a quarterback. I mean, Jordan Travis had a great 3-year run, but I don't know that they chose the right guy out of the portal. And then obviously they weren't confident in the guys they had on the roster that they were ready yet. But I mean, this will be the interesting thing.
Is this how
I was going to say is the interesting thing will be, and again, I don't think he lost the game, but how much better can DJU get? And are you better off if he's just, just a game manager of going with a younger player with a bigger upside at some point in the season?
So Florida State did recruit well. They did recruit well last year. I mean, they had a decent recruiting class.
I do, yeah.
But is this how Mike Norvell has to live right now? By portal, because of once you go all in on the portal like they did last year, and you have gaps, and you have Jordan Travis that leaves, Coleman leaves. I mean, these guys all leave for the NFL. There's a lot of holes. They were portal guys.
But I just don't think it works every year, though.
That's what I'm saying.
No, I think you have to be able to recruit and develop your own players because that's why I think Alabama's going to be good. It's almost like free agency
where you almost at point have to reset the thing. Like these Major League Baseball teams, these NFL teams, where every now and then you get so much, you gotta like you cut the spending and you take a couple years back These teams are going to have to do it with
Well,
these young guys, these young recruits.
Here's the thing. This is my point about Alabama, Georgia, and even Ohio State. Because Ohio State, they brought in some high-profile dudes. They brought in a quarterback, a center, and a safety, okay?
Right.
But that's it, though, really. They brought 3 high-profile dudes in. Most of them were already on the team, okay? They're not building their team through the portal like an Ole Miss is or whatever. They're
Right.
not building their team like that. See, that's why I have some doubts about Ole Miss. Do I think Ole Miss is going to be good? Do I have them in the playoff? Yes. I don't have them winning it, though, because they've got so many new guys. I think Ohio State, you look at Georgia, they didn't go portal heavy, but they brought in a few dudes. And then you look at Alabama bringing in a few dudes. Okay. To me, you have to develop the majority of your talent and have some continuity. Because and especially at the quarterback position. I really believe that. If you get a portal guy in the like a quarterback, I think it needs to be a guy like a Quinn Ewers. He's going to end up with 3 years at Texas. Jordan Travis had 3 years at Florida State. Bringing in these 1-year stopgap dudes is very rarely going to work because you haven't played with the guys. You only go through a spring, maybe. Yeah. And so you don't have a lot of time in the system. I just don't believe in it.
Joe Burrow's great example.
Second year
okay. Catches fire.
Ohio State. Now, don't forget Urban Meyer. He didn't even know he played at Ohio State. Or no, I'm sorry. That was Colin Cowherd.
Colin Cowherd.
Cowherd. Yeah, that was Cowherd. Sorry. Urban Meyer had to correct him because Urban wasn't smart enough to play the SOB.
Right.
Okay. He had another first-round quarterback, but I think Joe Burrow was the better player. We all kind of saw that. But still.
Jaden Daniels, too.
Well, Jaden Daniels.
I mean,
he was a 3-year guy.
But he was a 3-year guy. I'm just saying,
2-year guy. I'm sorry.
Yes, he was a 2-year guy. But, I mean, they've all – I mean, Jordan Travis, these guys, if they're in the program for more than 1 year –
the second year is always much better.
Yes. And I think that's why a lot of people think Peyton Thorne, hopefully, will have that next step.
And I know what somebody's going to do.
They're
going to call in. They're going to raise hell, and they're going to say Jake Coker. But Jake Coker was a backup for a year. Okay.
Right.
He was in the program 2 years. So I just think overall.
But he still had time to get better, though.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
You got to have a guy get used to his teammates, get used to the program. I don't believe in the 1-year stopgap would do. Even Landon Dickerson changed positions. Landon Dickerson was a 2-year guy. His second year, he was an All-American. His first year, he was a good player. His second year, he was a stud. And now he's one of the highest paid guards in the NFL. To me, you got to have guys for multiple years. You can't get a bunch of mercenaries and come in there for 1 year and think you're just going to – like, I'll be honest, a lot of the Florida State transfers on defense, I believe they're not just 1-year stopgaps unless they, play well enough to turn pro. But I think their defense will be okay. The defense will probably get better. The defense didn't play that bad. Now, they got handled the defensive line got handled against the run. But they still, I mean, look, man, ultimately they held Georgia Tech to 24 points. All right. Their offense didn't do enough. Their offense didn't run the football. They didn't control the clock. So I think defensively, Florida State's still not out of this.
That's what I'm saying.
They've got to do some soul searching and some big time improving. But I think it's more, you got to give credit to Georgia Tech and their improvement and what Brent Key has done. And they've gone portal heavy, but look, their QB's in his second year. And so I think, and he got away from Dirt Neck. And when you get away from Dirt Neck, it kind of helps your career a little bit.
The last team to lose their ACC opener and still win the ACC championship, by the way, or the league title, Florida State Seminoles. They did that in 1998 when they shared the title with Georgia Tech. 256-576-4977. That's how you can join us. Let's get our, let's get our first break in. Because when we come back, we'll go out to the phone lines. Because North Alabama took on Southeast Missouri State on Saturday.
Second half was ugly, man.
Yep, we got to hear from Brent DeArmond. We got to hear from Kalen DeBoer, who had the Kalen DeBoer show yesterday. We got all kinds of stuff, plus your phone calls. It's Monday. It's game week, folks.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a cell phone notification of a crash on South Parkway near Mythwood. Got units responding to check on that one. Everything else seems to be in pretty good shape this morning. Traffic moving along nicely with no other problems to report to you. Dr. Sandman has the Somnodent, a safe, insurance-approved alternative for snoring and sleep apnea. Dr. Randall Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
It's the dawning of a new age in Tuscaloosa.
I understand what Alabama football is all about. Roll time.
Join the Crimson Tide as the Kalen DuBois era begins. Touchdown! Join us Saturday as the Crimson Tide kick off the 2024 season at home against the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. Our coverage begins at 3 on your home for Alabama football.
Listen to Alabama football all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
Flying nonstop from Huntsville is a breeze on Breeze Airways. They're nice people flying nice people to nice places on really nice planes. Let's be direct. Nonstop from Huntsville to the places you want to go. Las Vegas, Orlando, or Tampa starting at $49. It's time for a weekend getaway or a long overdue week away. Time to check in using the convenient Breeze app and check out. What are you waiting for? Book today at flybreeze.com. That's flybreeze.com. Breeze Airways. Seriously nice.
Embark on a flavorful journey at the Brewers Cooperative. Located within the vibrant community hub of Stovehouse in Huntsville, our brewery isn't just about crafting exceptional beers. It's a destination where culinary delights and local brews harmonize. Whether you're seeking a laid-back lunch or a lively dinner with friends, our diverse menu has something to please every palate. With a commitment to quality and a passion for innovation, we invite you to savor the unique flavors of Huntsville's craft beer scene at the Brewers Cooperative. Call 256-678-7036. The Brewers Cooperative.
Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to us on our YouTube channel and Twitch. Just search 97.7 ESPN. We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Happy Monday morning. Happy game week, everyone. College football. And, I mean, you're not going to have to wait very long for college football this week. Thursday, we get action. Arkansas and the Bobby Petrino offensive coordinator era will get underway on Thursday at 6:30 on ESPNU. They're going to take on Arkansas Pine Bluff.
So that's the first SEC team we'll see.
Yep. And then you get Minnesota and North Carolina on Thursday night.
Northern Carolina or North Carolina?
North Carolina.
Okay.
What did I say?
I just want to know. You said North. I just wanted to make sure. Because I didn't know Northern Alabama existed.
Yeah, I didn't know Northern Alabama played football. But they do play football, apparently, according to ESPN.
And I didn't know the Mississippi River was, next to Montgomery.
It does. It flows right smack dab through Montgomery.
Hello? I didn't know you go into the injury tent and not know what the hell you went in there for.
Oh, my gosh. It was so bad.
It's called an F.
If you listened to the ESPN broadcast Saturday, the Northern Alabama game.
Mo, Larry, Curly, and Shemp. That's what
the
you
UNA game. You know exactly what we're talking about. Colorado, brutal. North Dakota State on Thursday night. Missouri and Murray State on Thursday night as well. And then Jack State will host Coastal Carolina on Thursday. UAB and Alcorn State on Thursday. So the football action gets going on Thursday night. We got UAB in action. And then on Friday, you're going to get Michigan State. Oklahoma and Temple is going to be on Friday.
Oh.
Then you get Stanford and TCU on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's your 9:30 game. So
interesting. Stanford and Wofford.
And then West Virginia and Penn State will get things started on Saturday morning. That's your 11 o'clock game along with Georgia and Clemson. Vanderbilt and Virginia
That
Tech.
Saturday is going to be epic, man.
Oh, Saturday is going to be great. Saturday will be. There are
I'm
plenty
looking
of
forward to
games.
Sunday in Vegas too. Myself, I believe that's USC and LSU.
That's a 6:30 kickoff on Sunday.
Yeah.
And then Monday, you're going to get Florida State again.
Yeah.
Because you get BC. I believe it's Boston College and Florida State on Monday.
Yeah, it's a Monday on Labor Day.
So two straight ACC games for Florida State right out of the gates.
Yeah. If they're 0-2 though, then they are screwed.
Yes. 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 Yeah, you can lose one now. But when you lose two, you're done.
Yeah.
That's O2 barbecue.
O2 barbecue.
Yeah. Let's go out to the phone lines. Mark from Spring Hill with us. Good morning, Mark.
Hey, good morning, guys. How we doing?
Good.
Hey, let me get the good, the bad, and the ugly this weekend. The good, really great, is Coach Saban. I'm not somebody who bets on football, but if you do out there, bet on Saban. He showed the most knowledge, the most knew when to speak, when not to speak on game day. Also, I thought his playoff prediction was spot on. Watch and see if he doesn't nail it. And also, so he would be the good and the great. He picked Georgia Tech, and even talked about how they're going to win defensively. There,
well, actually, when it came down to it, he picked Florida State at the very end. When
he did say Georgia Tech could be able to run the ball and keep it close.
Yeah, Seamus was the only one on the set that picked Georgia
Tech.
to
Seamus
win.
picked Notre Dame to win the national championship.
Right.
We'll see how well that goes after they get their ass beat in the first game.
My bad. I do recall that. I remember him talking in the beginning of the program about what Georgia Tech's defense. If they can just get a little defense, they can beat Florida State. But anyway. That's the good. The bad is Florida State. They're done. All those Alabama transfers, I don't know what they're thinking, but, they're going to the, mid-major bowl. And then I didn't see anything in Florida State look like a championship caliber team. And then in the transfer portal, that is the bad, too, that I think it's going to be people are going to start to see that you better have some players that stay for a while if you want to win a championship. If you want to look good and have all the all that glitters is not gold. Let's put it that way. That's the bad. The ugly is going to be Curb Street and the knucklehead on the far left, the Michigan player.
Desmond Howard.
Yeah. Both of them had Liberty in. Now, let me just tell you this for both those knuckleheads.
Well, hey, before you say that, Nick Saban had Liberty in the first round of the playoffs, too.
I didn't. Well, okay. Well, then I'll put him in on this one then, because here's the thing. I didn't recall that, but Liberty being in, but here's Nick Saban had Alabama in. Here's the difference. Those two didn't, and so if Liberty's in and Alabama and Tennessee are out, come on, those two. That's Alabama hatred right there. They both hate Alabama anyway. You can't be objective on that show. Kick them both off and put you two guys on. How's that?
Yeah, I wouldn't want that.
Liberty,
job.
come on, Drew, talk about Liberty. How much better they are than Alabama and Tennessee, for example. And I'll hang up and listen.
So, by the way, Nick Saban's 12 teams, and he alluded to it. This is who Nick Saban put in there. He put Liberty and Texas meeting in one round, Ole Miss and Penn State, LSU, Oregon, Notre Dame, Alabama. The teams that get the byes, Ohio State, Florida State, Georgia, and Utah. That's who Nick Saban's 12-team playoff prediction was.
Now, Florida State's not likely going to have that now. I mean, I remember what I said all week, though. If Georgia Tech wins this game, what does this mean for the ACC as a conference? I think it means very likely they're a one-bid league. And we're going to find a lot out about Miami because I've seen some predictions with Miami being the 3 seed and winning that league.
Right.
We'll see if they can even beat Florida. I'm thinking that the Gators may get them because I don't believe in Mario Cristobal as a game day coach. I think he's a hell of a recruiter. But see, that's another team that went portal heavy. Like, how good is Miami going to be because they went portal heavy and this is a game that Billy
Cam
Napier
Ward be that guy
really
in 1 year.
Yeah, he can. It work. The Gators really need that game because Billy Napier's under a lot of pressure. That some people think his seat is scorching hot. So there you go. So I mean, and there's some people that don't even believe Billy will make it through the season just because of the schedule and how brutal it is for Florida. So that's a big game. And so and then Clemson, and think about it, the top 3 teams in that league in the preseason in the ACC, arguably, Scott, might all be over. But by the time we get through this coming weekend, I'm talking about Georgia playing Clemson. We'll see how good Clemson is. And then Miami and Florida. So if they're all 3 0-1, now Florida State would love that because then you don't really lose any traction, even though 2 of them aren't, losing a conference game. But still, they would have lost ball games and and things of that nature, and it would hurt their playoff chances. But I'll just say, I don't know, man. I don't think Florida State's completely out of it, but I do think that, to me, right now, I'm thinking it shows is that the ACC is weak sauce and that it's going to be a one-bid league. Whoever wins the ACC championship game is going to be rightly in the playoff, but I think they're going to get the hell beat out of them in the first round. That's just me, though.
All right. 256-576-4977.
And I don't care who they're playing. I don't care what they're seeded. I just think they might even be a 3 seed or a 4 seed and be an underdog and lose at home.
One reason why we may be underrating Florida, remember, it's Graham Mertz's second year in the program.
And he had a good first year.
He had a decent first year.
I thought he had even better than decent, but
this is
didn't have a lot of help.
year 2. This is year 2 for him.
Yeah.
Year 2. Things slow down. Let's go out to Brandon real fast. Good morning, Brandon.
Morning.
So Lincoln Riley is still at USC and Kevin Sumlin is somewhere, right?
I don't. Someone was being an analyst or a consultant with someone. I don't really know where he's at. At least at one time. Scott's going to look that up. But I don't know where someone's at.
Maryland, associate head coach, co-offensive coordinator, and tight ends coach at Maryland.
Maryland for Loxley. Okay,
Yep.
That's where he's at. I did not know that's where he was at.
Well, I don't know what in the hell happened between Ohatchee and New Hope the other night, but I would have thought Sumlin and Lincoln Riley were coaching against each other because they're in Toronto to Tel Aviv.
Yeah, I mean, it was
76-71 was the final. New Hope was trailing in that game by, I think, 20 at one point, and they come back and they lose it on a Hail Mary, about I want to say a 38-yard Hail Mary there at the end of the game to lose it.
Longer than that.
Yeah. It was about a 36, 37-yard Hail Mary.
And they said that USA Today was saying that has rewritten the AHSAA record for most points scored in regulation in Alabama history.
I mean, I would think it. If not, it's close to rewriting it. It'd have to be. I couldn't believe it when I heard the final and it was in regulation. I mean, that's just. I guess there wasn't a punt in that game.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Did they score every single time they got the ball? Because that one team scored 11 touchdowns.
Well, but Scott did tell me, I guess somehow they got some stops because there was a huge comeback by New Hope to have a chance to win it.
Yeah.
Because they were down like 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, they were down. So I New Hope had to at least stop them once, I think.
Or probably onside kick or whatever.
Or do something.
Yeah.
What was it Will Howard threw for against LSU one time? How many yards was it that he threw for? We were talking about his arm was going to fall off when he beat him that day with the air raid. That's kind of like what I thought happened in this game.
You mean that you're talking about not Will Howard, but you're talking about the transfer from Stanford who the first game of the COVID year in 20 threw for like 630 yards.
Rogers?
Rogers.
Yeah. No, it wasn't Will. Will wasn't
Rogers.
there yet. It wasn't Will Rogers. It was not. It was the transfer from Stanford.
Yeah.
Who ended up coming in for 1 year and actually lost the job and ended up he threw for like 1 billion yards, like 635 or something like that.
New Hope was down 14 with 2 minutes to go. Our good friend Jimmy Lay helping us now was down 14 with 2 minutes to go, got the onside kick and scored and went up 71-70 with 50 seconds left. And then Ohatchee with that 38-yard Hail Mary there at the end to win it.
Now, the quarterback you're referring to, Brandon, was KJ Costello from Stanford, who was a former 5-star. Yeah, he came in. That was his first start at Mississippi State, and that was basically the end for Coach Ogeron. They were coming off the national championship. They didn't prepare worth 10 cents, and they got just blitzed. And Lee, I think that was Leach's first game at Mississippi State as well, and they just threw all over LSU.
That's the last time I think anybody's thrown a ball like that, and that's hell of a game. Them people there, they had to be excited about that one at the end. But
I
was complaining the other day about quarterbacks not throwing the ball. more than 5 or 10 yards and throw it to the flat and nobody throws down the field. And then they go out there and just throw it like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 147 points in that game, the most points scored in regulation in an Alabama High School Athletic Association game. It's the second most points scored in a game because in 2023, there was a 78-72 triple overtime game between Central Haneyville and Billingsley. That was in 2023. So it's the second most points scored ever in a high school football game, but it's the most points scored in a regulation high school football game in state history.
Man, that's exciting stuff. And
I just hate they didn't win it.
Right. And that was close. That was a tough one for Coach Harper.
Yeah, he went home.
A lot of family members. I think
Yeah.
his brother is on the sidelines
Sister.
Yeah. So that was a tough game for New Hope. And that was his first game as New Hope head coach as well.
Yeah. Kids fought their butts off.
And y'all were talking about Tech. Tech has always been so bad because of that stupid offense that they ran. Atlanta has enough talent that there is no reason that Georgia Tech shouldn't be a 9-game perennial winner every year. If you know how much talent and you know these teams, what's around downtown Atlanta, they were always bad to me because of philosophy, not because of capability. And I think now they've turned that corner, getting away from all that stupid mess they've done for the past few years. And when Lane Kiffin was at FAU and Paul Johnson left, I said that should have been the job that Lane took. Now, he's doing fine where he's at, but I said he would have set that job on fire if he'd have took it because he would have been instantly able to recruit and turn it around. But now they're turning around, and I think that from here on out, as long as they don't regress back into the triple option, there's no reason for them to not be in the top 10% of winning in that conference going forward. They got all of the talent within 45 minutes of them that you could ever want to recruit. And you can't tell me that they can't find 20 kids a year that can get in there and make decent grades. So I'm hoping for Tech's sake, and I'd like to see Alabama play them again. And, man, it's great to see like Bishop Gorman and St. Thomas Aquinas and Rayburn Gap and the Red Raiders of Tennessee, these high school teams being able to play these games. We were watching them when we were out at the pool yesterday, and that's what I always enjoy about these first couple of weeks is seeing these high school teams just go at it. And I saw that UNA game, too. I watched every minute of it. Riveting game.
Yeah. All right, Brandon, thanks for the phone call.
Brandon.
Yeah, you go back to Georgia Tech history. Bobby Dodd has
Yeah.
a pair of SEC championships. Yes, SEC championships in 51 and 52. Bobby Ross has an ACC championship. George O'Leary has one. Paul Johnson has one. 2009.
Bobby Ross did a great job at Tech. He won that title in 90, the national championship that he won a share of.
Yeah.
Which was one hell of an accomplishment with Colorado. And, of course, Colorado shouldn't have won it. We all know they couldn't count to 5 or whatever the hell it was against Missouri. They should have lost a damn game. So, but Tom Johnson of Huntsville High played on that team, played for Greg Patterson. And that was one hell of a team. I enjoyed watching that Georgia Tech team play when I was about 15, many, many years ago. But I was just looking at the stats on defense for Georgia Tech. There was 2 transfers, one from Auburn and one from Alabama. We talked about Kevin Harris. He did play. He had a sack. So I missed it, but obviously he had an impact on the game. And then Amari Harvey, who's a DB transfer from Auburn, had a really good game. He was all over the place, actually. He had a tackle for loss. He had 7 tackles total and flew around the field. So Georgia Tech, they've got several transfers, but again, and like Brandon said, they don't need to run the triple option, but I do like the style of football they play. They're very creative in their running game. They use a lot of shifts and motions, and they're a very difficult preparation. And, Brent Key's an old offensive line coach, and they played well up front. You got to give them a lot of credit. And it goes to show you again, though, Florida State probably would have been better off playing, FAMU or something in the first game, playing a warm-up game and getting some success under their belt when you're having all these transfers and you're playing somebody the quality of Georgia Tech. No, I'm not trying to disrespect FAMU. I'm just saying a game against an opponent that is overmatched that you're going to have success against to get some timing down.
All right, let's get a break in. When we come back, we'll go to the phone lines. Plus, we'll recap UNA's action with Southeast Missouri State. Brent DeArmond had some comments after that. We'll hear from him, plus Kalen DeBoer. We've only just begun.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a wreck in Decatur in the 500 block of Fremont. That's near 5th Avenue. That one's a no injury, but it's got some blockage. And I never heard an update on that possible wreck at Parkway in Mythwood. That one reported with injury, but it was a cell phone notification. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. You could make it safer for them. Slow down or move over. It's the law. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Hey, Huntsville. Looking for action-packed events? The Huntsville Sports Commission is your hub for all things sports. From youth events to national tournaments, we've got events that thrill and inspire. Whether you're an athlete, a fan, or a volunteer, there's something for everyone. Cheer on your favorite teams, witness amazing talent, and be a part of the excitement. Check out our event calendar and get involved at huntsvillesports.com. That's huntsvillesports.com. Be there, Huntsville.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at GenSuperstore.com.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888 8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. On Saturday, this past Saturday, North Alabama, UNA Lions, they were in action. Southeast Missouri State. We previewed that one for you.
Yeah.
UNA would actually lead at halftime.
15-7.
They would go in, yep. And just like it was last year, the second half, not good.
Couldn't get anything going, man.
Not good for the Lions. They would turn the ball over a bunch of times.
Yeah.
In the second half. SEMO forced 4 turnovers, took over in the second half, erasing that Lions lead as they go on to get the win 37-15 after the game. You heard him here leading into the game, talking about finishing, talking about getting it done. Last year, not able to do it. UNA head coach Brent DeArmond after the game.
We just got to learn how to finish. You know, we're I think now 8 games and 13 games of me being here, we had a lead probably going into halftime. We've got to learn how to come out of the half, whether if it's us scripting breaks in practice where we come out of a break and have to go right to it. But we've got to learn how to we've got the depth now, where last year I don't think we always had the depth. We've got the depth to do it. So we just got to continue to grow from it.
Yeah, they got to finish. I mean, they did run the football pretty decently against Southeast Missouri, but it comes down to this. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Alabama Clemson in 2018, where they drive the ball, but they don't finish in the red zone, or like you said, Scott, they turn it over.
Yeah.
You have a disastrous turnover or something. And they gave up to some explosive runs, including the QB run late in the game too, to kind of salt it away. Cause really it was 37-15, but this was a very close game in the beginning of the fourth quarter until SEMO kind of got those turnovers and then put the game away. UNA had a chance at this thing. They couldn't get any kind of rhythm offensively, and their offense, inside the 30-yard line has got to improve from the standpoint. They've got to be able to throw and catch better. And they didn't throw the ball very effectively. Only 12 of 24 for Patu, the starter, their new starter from Stanford. They've just got to get better at the quarterback position. I mean, they've got to be more efficient. They weren't able to, and he threw some, INTs late when he was trying to force the ball down the field. But like I said, UNA did some good things, but they've got to get better along the line of scrimmage, and they've got to throw and catch better.
256-576-4977. UNA now will travel to Memphis this week.
Ooh, that don't get any easier, brother.
6:00 kickoff there at Liberty Bowl Stadium. Let's get the phone lines in. Jared is with us. Good morning, Jared.
Hey, good morning, guys. Happy holidays. It's the most wonderful time of the year. We are back at it. I'm glad to hear y'all, and I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely. Appreciate it.
Good. It is a fantastic week.
Yep, totally.
Heck yeah. Well, I just wanted to say real quick about Georgia Tech, Florida State. I think, talking heads all year long, talking about how great Florida State was. But, hey, I'm kind of, a Florida State fan-ish on the side because my wife's a fan of them, so I feel for them. But
yeah,
Georgia Tech absolutely dominated them on the front.
Yeah,
and,
they did.
I mean, that's how you win football games. They just old school powered right in their face, and they just could not stop them. And it was truly beautiful. I'm glad to see, the Jackets figuring it out finally after all these years. But on another note, the Tide playing this week, obviously, and once again the talking heads at it again. Now I understand Coach Saban giving them the reverse rat poison, and I understand where he's coming from, but I just don't know how these guys can sleep at night saying Alabama's going to finish 4th, 5th, 6th in the SEC. It's like we lost 2 players. I mean, this is still a Nick Saban recruited team plus a great recruiting class coming in. I mean, we got some questions in the secondary. Hopefully the portal has filled those, but at the end of the day, I mean, teams like Ole Miss and Missouri, who people are ranking higher than us, I mean, these guys haven't breathed a win over Alabama since, I don't know, Hugh Freeze at Ole Miss. I mean, have they forgotten that, or where are we at with this at this point? You know what I mean?
I saw where Darth Vader picked Alabama 6th in the SEC, but there's a reason he got his ass fired, so he can't recruit his mother.
AKA Dan Mullen.
He can't recruit very well at all because he had the catbird seat. Miami was bad. Florida State was going through the abyss where Norvell hadn't even fixed it yet, and he couldn't dominate in that state. And he's at the state university at Florida in the SEC, and he couldn't. He had one good team. Okay, so he proved beyond a shadow of a doubt he's not a big time coach in my opinion. Now he'll probably get another job at some point at a group of 5 or maybe at a middling Power 4 school, but I don't think he's a big-time coach. I'm sorry, not a head coach anyway. You got to be able to recruit. He can't do that. Now, he may be right that Alabama, is going to be around 5th or 6th in the SEC. I don't think so. I agree with you. I think Alabama has a top 3 roster in the conference. Georgia's the other one that can match with them. Probably maybe Texas, even though I like Alabama's roster better than Texas. And I know how much talent Ole Miss has added in the transfer portal, but I'm sorry. You just mentioned Ole Miss, and they hadn't beat Alabama since 2015. I don't buy Ole Miss is better than Alabama. And the funny thing is, we won't know. The only way they'll play each other is one of 2 ways, either in the SEC championship game or in the playoff. And there's a lot of people that have got them playing in a 7-10 game in Tuscaloosa with Alabama and Ole Miss both making it. And that would be fascinating because Lane Kiffin would be coming back to his old stomping grounds. But I agree with you. We haven't seen Alabama play yet, but I think I like Alabama's roster a lot. And I want to see we keep mentioning second-year quarterbacks. How much better is Jalen Milroe? Because that's going to be the real key for Alabama. If he's taken to this coaching staff as well as maybe he has, and we can't say anything because we've only seen him in A-Day, and you can't take anything from A-Day. A-Day is worthless. Okay, but when you see him play a real game,
preseason rankings,
about the same. Yeah. So I mean, because hell, if A-Day meant a squat, then Brian Steger would have been an All-American. Okay, and he wasn't. Everybody knows that. So we'll see. But I mean, I just think if Milroe has taken that step, and then the one interesting thing that Nick Saban did say on the set that I thought the most interesting thing was he was at the scrimmage, the second one, and was very impressed with Alabama defensively, which he said was his biggest concern. So if Alabama is good on defense, then the Tide's going to be tough to handle. So that's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I agree. And, the game's got to be played before we can all be like, oh, Bama should be the best. All I'm saying is I don't know if Bama will win the SEC. I think that they're definitely got a chance. I think they're going to be a competitor. And even Georgia coming to town. I mean, Georgia's beat us once in the last, 4 or 5 meetings. And I understand Coach Saban ain't there anymore. I get it. All right. But, I mean, Coach DeBoer's a winner. And, I mean, I guess this is going to be the test. But I just think it's funny. I think it's great for the team. They're going to eat it up. You know what I mean? It's that reverse rat poison. And Nick Saban's doing it on purpose, but I can't say the same for all the other talking heads, but rarely are they right anyway.
Well,
but,
bro, I'll just tell you this, Jared.
Thanks for the phone call, Jared.
Look, I mean, I know a lot of people are, especially Georgia fans, are going to give it to me if Georgia wins this game in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
But if the Tide wins it, they're going to hate me. They just really are.
So, okay,
because we're going to come in. I'm just telling you, Bandy. I'm just telling you right now, son. If Alabama wins that game, we coming on this show after Thunderstruck, and we're going to play we're playing Michael Myers walking in the building. Okay,
I'll be right there with you, brother.
Yeah, absolutely, because we're playing the Boogeyman still here.
Let's get a break in. There's a lot to ask there with that game, with that team, with Georgia as well. There's a lot to ask. We got to get a break in. When we come back, we will hear from Kalen DeBoer. We'll hear from others. We'll talk college football and more. It's Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zoom.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got a wreck in Limestone County, 72 westbound at Cambridge Lane. No report of injury there. Had one in Decatur, 500 block of Fremont. That's near 5th Avenue. No injury in that one. And I'm assuming the wreck at Parkway in Mythwood is not there. That one was a cell phone notification. D&L Refrigeration repairs heating and air conditioning units for homes and businesses. D&L 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. Tired of the same old menu options everywhere you go? Then you need to try Metro Diner in Huntsville and Madison. The award-winning Metro Diner serves up signature dishes like their Charleston shrimp and grits, famous fried chicken and waffles with strawberry butter, and lots more. Their entire menu is available anytime, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And stop by for brunch on Saturday or Sunday and enjoy the lowest price mimosas in town. Airport Road, Huntsville, and Highway 72 in Madison. In diner or at home, make it Metro Diner.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
This summer, make it a Woody Anderson Ford. Make it 0% financing, make it no down payment, and make no payments for 90 days. Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford. It's our Ford Summer Sales event, and I promise you can save serious dollars on a large selection of our 2024 Fords. We've got financing as low as 0% for 36 months on 2024 F-150, Explorer, Expedition, Edge, Escape, plus all-electric F-150 Lightning and Mustang Mach-E. And on all these Fords I just mentioned, you'll make no down payment and no payments for 90 days. Can you say Orange Beach, here we come? This is going to be a good summer. Come choose from over 550 new Fords, and you'll learn firsthand that nobody will work harder to earn your business. Brand new award-winning Fords with 0% financing, no down payment, and no payment for 90 days with your good credit. This offer ends 9/3/24. Come see us today and make it a Woody Anderson Ford. Hope to see you soon.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Let's go out to the phone lines. Bulldog Johnny with us on a Monday. Good morning,
Johnny.
sir.
What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on? Hey, Drew.
Hey, man, what's going on? Yeah.
We're not going to hate you. If anything, I got to listen to you guys every morning. So,
Right.
win or lose, I'm going to be right there with you. There will be some bragging rights, though, I got to say, if my dogs pull it off. But I'm going to say this one time before the season starts. Once the season starts and that ball moves, I got to stay committed to my Bulldog nature.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, that's true.
But I do have some doubts. I have some doubts with Georgia. I mean, we don't have the depth that we used to. I think the talent's there all over.
Oh, they got talent, no question.
It's more on the ones. It's really an experience issue, I think, more than anything. We got a lot of young guys. We lost a ton of people last year between transfer portal.
Yeah, everybody look, everybody's losing guys to the portal. That's the problem. You know, it is hard to keep depth. I mean, Alabama's got places where they don't have good depth because everybody is losing guys to the portal. I mean, no matter what.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I do think that you're on something about Alabama. All my family Alabama fans, naturally, in Alabama. But I think that everyone's really down on Alabama. I think they're going to have a tremendous year. But I do think that being #1 at the start of the year and all this talk, I do have some question marks with Georgia, and I think we may be a little too high praised in some people's mouth. What do you think? Give me your honest opinion about the Dogs.
That's what I want. That's the question.
No, I
going
got
into
Georgia
break.
winning the SEC.
But
Even
why,
maybe
though?
splitting with Alabama and being, one of the top few seeds in the playoff. I still think they're that talented. Now, I mean, we'll see. Because I think, and they have a quarterback returning in his second year, and I'm big on quarterback experience. You got to have.
Right.
They got new skill guys, and they
But
got
they lost
ETN
a
now in the
lot.
backfield. They did. They lost the best tight end I ever seen, and then they lost one of the most underrated receivers in Georgia history, and Ladd McConkey. And they lost even Jack Saint, who was a good player. But they've still got good players. And even with Thomas or whatever the hell his name was, who cares about him? He never made any plays. But they've got enough guys.
But why does the talk around Georgia, though, sound like they are invincible?
Because they won 29 in a row before they lost to Alabama in a knockdown, drag-out football game. They've only lost one game in 3 years. So, of course, it's the old Ric Flair. You got to be the man, you got to beat the man. Well, Alabama beat him, but now the head coach that beat him retired. And so that's why Kirby, he's the dude right now. He's lost one game in his last 30 or 31, whatever, the 30 and 1.
Two things, and I'll be real quick. There's a reason why they say ain't nothing finer than a drunk in the land than a drunk, obnoxious Georgia fan.
Well, I was around some of them in Indiana. It was a long trip home.
Yes, we were.
I guarantee it.
Yeah.
And last but not least, welcome Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC. It ain't going to be the same the last previous years. You in for a reckoning.
I agree, Johnny. Appreciate
Thanks for the phone call, Johnny. Yeah, they didn't know it was cold in Indianapolis.
Oh,
There's a lot of
Lord.
people that didn't know it was cold, really cold.
Well,
they were not feeling it.
Several of us got COVID, but hell, we was packed in like sardines.
Hey, we played football, though, right?
Yeah, better than them.
Jeff from the Borough is with us next. Good morning, Jeff.
Morning, Jeff.
Morning, guys. Who's Florida State going to sue now?
I don't know.
Doing the ACC, they gonna sue ESPN.
They get some bad potatoes in Ireland. I don't know.
Look, I tell you what, that loss for Florida State, yeah, people are talking about it, and they're talking about what it'll do to their playoffs and all that other stuff.
They're not going
but
to
it
playoffs.
didn't.
They forget that.
It
They
did
ain't going
not
to
look
playoffs.
good from a 6,000 feet perspective. Number one, when you're trying to get out of a conference that you don't want to be in. You've made it public. You don't want to be in the ACC. You want to get out.
Yeah.
You're suing
You're
them.
what
You're
Jeff's
doing all
saying.
this other stuff.
Yeah.
And then you go out and you lose to Georgia Tech in your opener.
Yeah.
From a perspective standpoint, it doesn't look good.
No.
The only thing would have been better if they'd lost to Tallahassee. That would have been better. If that field goal went through in some, I've never heard Doak Campbell, somebody was president back as a women's college. If they'd prayed over there and won, that's the only thing would have been better if they'd won in Tallahassee. Florida, who do they think they are? I mean, Florida State, give me a break, okay? I mean, I didn't mind the playoff stuff last year. They should have been. I ain't gonna get into that. But who suing the AC? Who they gonna sue? ESPN? They gonna sue the people that picked Saturday? All them 4 pickers, including Nick Saban. He picked Florida State too. Who they gonna sue?
Right.
I mean, come on. I mean, Nick Saban's 0-1 in picking. So
Yeah,
maybe he needs
he
to. Maybe he needs to get a little better on that picking, don't he? He's supposed to be a great college football coach. I don't know. His picking ain't too good, so he needs to get a little Jimmy the Greek in him. But he might get a few wins this year. He might pick a few games to win. But and I love that middle of it. Georgia. I wish it was 61-21. I love that middle of it. So like I said, if Notre Dame beats A&M Saturday, I love that too. So so Florida State, it's like that song, Bill Squire, you sing "Everybody Wants You." Well, nobody wants you, baby. Nobody wants you. Period.
Except for the Big 12, I guess.
All you care about is football. The rest of the sports, nobody cares. Nobody wants you. Nobody wants you, baby. So you have a good day.
Jeff singing. This is great. Lord.
Nobody wants you. From
Wow.
Jeff and the Burrows.
Yeah.
Wow.
A little bit nuts.
Yes. Wow. There was other college football games on Saturday. You have to.
I'll tell you the one that was pretty good. I watched the Endo was SMU in Nevada.
Yeah, you got to feel though for New Mexico.
Yeah, that was a gag job.
They
there,
paid
brother.
Montana State $360,000 to
come
come
back
on
and whip
in. And Montana State overcomes a 17-point fourth quarter deficit to secure the first FCS over FBS win of the year. It may not be the last because remember, there's a lot of people that think North Dakota State can go on the road this week and beat Colorado.
Well, I mean, hell, they're playing daddy ball, so let's see what happens. I mean, all Coach Prime's doing, he's banning reporters left and right from coming to his press conferences instead of worrying about building a damn football team that can actually tackle somebody and throw and catch and be physical.
That could be number 2. That could be number 2.
I'm rooting for North Dakota State, and to be honest with you, I'm about sick and tired of all this crap with Colorado because I think it's a bunch of I don't really think they're all that good. I think it's a bunch of stuff.
Overrated.
I mean, it's style over substance. There's nothing to it. He's
All
just
right.
trying to get his 2 kids drafted. Period. End of story.
We got some substance coming up next. Brian Matthews.
So I guess I'd be barred too.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Check out VSiN's catalog of original podcasts, daily and weekly programming to keep you in the know when you're on the go. Only at VSIN.com. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
College football season gets into full swing this weekend. Number 1, Georgia favored by 13.5 against number 14, Clemson. Number 8, Penn State by 8.5 at West Virginia. Number 2, Ohio State, a 50-point favorite at home against Akron. Number 4, Texas by 32.5 against Colorado State. Number 5, Alabama, a 31-point favorite at home against Western Kentucky. Number 20, Texas A&M by 3 against number 7, Notre Dame. Number 21, Arizona by 30.5 against New Mexico. Number 4, Texas favored by 3.5 against number 9, Michigan. Number 13, LSU by 4 against number 23, USC. That's the VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. I'm Chuck Sanders.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone, Hour 2, getting you ready. Thanks to SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, 256-881-5151. If you want to experience the SportsMed difference, go ahead, give them a call. They are the official training providers for the Rocket City Trash Pandas, the UAH Chargers. We're home to all of that. They're home to us. So it's SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, dedicated to providing care to improve lives. Coming up on Saturday, the Auburn Tigers will get things underway inside Jordan-Hare Stadium. Year 2 of the Hugh Freeze era, year 2 of a lot of things there for Auburn. And how will they react?
Yeah, this is what's going to be very, very interesting, and seeing, what happens with this Auburn team, how much better do they look offensively? I'm still interested in the offensive line, the kind of the left side where they were flipping it around a little bit at the end of camp, which kind of surprised me just a little bit. That's really the first thing all training camp or all fall camp for Auburn that kind of surprised me offensively, is that they were doing a little bit of experimentation. I thought that position would be, those 5 would be settling in. But we're going to talk about that and more with our next guest. Since 2001, he's covered the Auburn Tigers, been a great friend of our show for the last decade. He is with Auburn Rivals, which is, of course, auburnsports.com. And we're talking about Brian Matthews, and he's with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Brian, good morning. You're with Drew and Scott. How are you?
I'm doing great, guys. Good morning.
I got to ask you, too. To me, I said this weekend as we were watching the first mini weekend of college football, but I thought last year the offseason drug along and was slow as all get out. To me, it's gone by like really, really quickly this year. And it just seems like college football is on top of us, which is a great thing. I thought the offseason seemed like it went by in a blur. What has been your thought covering this fall camp for Auburn?
Oh, it went by really fast. I think there's a lot of anticipation for the changes, the 12-team playoff and everything that's
right.
The expansion, the new conferences, so many new things this fall in college football. So, yeah, it did fly by.
Well, here we are. It is Auburn game week. Hugh Freeze meets the media. We kind of settle into more of a routine. It's Alabama A&M on Saturday. Brian, as we sit here on a Monday, 6 days away from game day, what kind of has you intrigued the most right now?
Well, what you opened with, the changes on the offensive line, is going to be interesting to see it in person. Of course, we saw it all last year. Dylan Wade did start every game, I think it was, at left tackle. Percy Lewis was brought in to play left tackle and allow Wade to move to guard, a more natural position for him. But it hasn't worked out quite as well as Auburn was hoping. So they flipped those guys, and they're trying Lewis out at guard and Wade's back at tackle. I think that's, fine, assuming that Percy can perform well at guard. And, some other positions can step up. Connor Lewis should be better, second-year starter.
Yes.
You would think that Tutah Miller, Isaiah will be better at right tackle, his second-year starter. So you still expect improvement there. You're just a little intrigued about how it's going to look on that left side.
Yeah, no question. That's what I'm most intrigued by offensively, and just to see this wide receiver core. I mean,
Right.
and see if they can make explosive plays, because that's been lacking in Auburn's offense for several years now. But we saw Cam Coleman in the 8-day game; he was tremendous. We really haven't seen Lambert Jones from Penn State because I know he's been kind of held out, been kind of banged up. How healthy is he now going into this opener?
I think he's okay. I'm hoping to get a full update from Coach Freeze here this afternoon for his press conference. But they've been really careful with him. Keontae Scott, they've been careful with a couple others, just sort of holding them out as much as possible to get them to the season healthy. So we'll see. Those are the ones I'm concerned the most about, along with Austin Keys, the linebacker, too. He's been a little banged up.
Yeah, he was banged up a lot last year, too. We didn't see a lot of him.
He had a great offseason, a really strong spring, and was really looking like he was going to be a very good player for Auburn this fall. So I know they really want to have him healthy.
Obviously, we're going to get a look at some of the veterans and seeing how they've improved during the offseason. We've talked a lot about year 2 adjustments, in college football, that if guys have been in programs for 2 years, that's when we see them take that next step. A lot of people think Peyton Thorne is in line for that because year 2, he's a little bit more comfortable with Coach Freeze, maybe the Auburn surroundings, maybe a little bit of everything, has some more weapons. Maybe this is the year where we see the Peyton Thorne from Michigan State that had those impressive numbers.
Yeah, I mean, just go back a few years to 2021 when he was surrounded by better talent there, put up those numbers. And, I think he should be capable of doing the same at Auburn, which would be good for Auburn this season, which I think would allow them to win 7 or 8 games, if he can play like that. And I don't know if I mentioned on your program or not, but I think the wide receiver position is the most improved position that I've seen in my 25 years covering Auburn from one year to the next. And you can't really compare that to maybe bringing in a top quarterback like Cam Newton, but a position that has so many players at it, I guess would be the way to compare it. It's just an amazing turnaround there. And, I think they're going to be everything we think they're going to be. And I expect them to make plays starting Saturday at Jordan-Hare Stadium.
Well, and I mentioned Keandre Lambert-Smith, and as you said, they've been careful with him. We believe he's going to make a big impact because they went after him hard out of the portal. That was, basically with him and Robert Lewis from Georgia State. Hugh Freeze made his decision early in the offseason, like, hey, we're not going after, a quarterback. We're going to improve we're going to invest our money in transfers, but at the wide receiver spot, we got to get better there, no question. But another one that they brought in that actually started against them at quarterback was Sam Jackson, the 5th from Cal. I've heard, you and others, Jason Caldwell, that I respect, he's kind of flown under the radar because he's making a position change. But is he somebody that could be better than we think?
I think so. And he's also, mostly playing that slot position, which is pretty talented right now. With Bryce Kane coming back and, who else is in there? Malcolm Simmons having a great, a really, really strong, 2-a-days in fall practice. So, and Robert Lewis, I guess, is back there in the slot too. Although some of those guys, Caleb Burton, can play outside too. But he has got some natural athleticism. I would say he's probably top 5 as far as the fastest player on the team. And has really picked things up quickly. It's been since his sophomore season in high school when Peyton Thorne was his quarterback that he's played a wide receiver. So it's been a little while. He's been a quarterback, but I feel like the transition's gone really well, and he will be part of that rotation there at receiver.
A lot of young guys will get reps on Saturday. We're going to see a lot of guys for the first time in Auburn uniforms. One of those, DeMarcus Riddick, had a fantastic fall camp, and a lot of expectations surrounding this young gentleman.
Yeah, he was a great athlete in high school. He played everything, even returned kicks and punts. I think it's Chilton County. And, now that he's concentrating on just one position, his athleticism is really showing. He's a future star for Auburn. He's playing. He told us he's playing some inside linebacker now, which is kind of surprised because you look at him and you think he's a natural will or outside linebacker, but he's playing more between the tackles right now. And he's a guy that has extreme athleticism, can cover, can drop and cover, can rush and pressure the line of scrimmage, and is learning to play really physical inside too, which is probably the biggest adjustment he's had to make coming from high school to Auburn.
Well, and then you mentioned Austin Keys earlier. What's been his issue in this camp as far as getting banged up? What's the injury? Do we know?
I do not know specifically what it is.
So they just been careful with him, kind of.
Yeah, last year he had a thumb injury and
right,
shoulder injury, and I haven't heard what it is this year.
Yeah, they may just be being cautious too because I know they want to get him on the field. I mean, since he transferred from Ole Miss, and we saw what a huge jump that Eugene Asante made last year because the change in coaches saved his career because he just didn't make an impact his first year at Auburn, but he was an all SEC guy. Now he's the alpha dog leader of that group. But I wanted to turn back to, I know you said on offense, you've seen as dramatic a change as you've ever seen with the wide receiver core at Auburn having 7 new guys of the 9. But I think there's been a pretty stark transformation in 2 years on the defensive line too, potentially. I know they may not have an all SEC guy like a Marcus Harris yet, but the depth seems to be much better now.
Absolutely. And if there is an all-SEC guy, it's probably Keldrick Falk, their defensive end.
He may develop into that
the
dude.
most talented freshman. I mean, I think Cam Coleman's most talented freshman, maybe, and DeMarcus Riddick too, but maybe in the top 3, Morris Williams is right there at defensive end too. He's going to be a special player for Auburn. He's going to play right away as a true freshman. But yeah, they've got 6 or 7 guys at defensive tackle, and those guys, they're going to rotate. 4 of those guys are transfers. You got Jason Jones back, the former transfer, I think, from Oregon. It's his 3rd year at Auburn. You got some young guys in there like Malik Blockton, who is absolutely going to play.
Yes.
So they feel really good about that, and they feel good about only having to play a guy maybe 20, 25 snaps and getting the best out of that guy instead of putting somebody in there like Marcus Harris maybe last year who had to play a whole bunch of snaps every game and get a little tired there at the end. So I would look for their defensive line to be really aggressive and rotate a bunch of guys in there, try to be really good by the time you get to the 4th quarter.
And then talk about another guy that was banged up much last year, but I know that when they got him out of the portal from Appalachian State, they thought he was going to make a huge impact, but injuries kind of robbed him of that. What kind of camp, and with his 2nd year in the program, what kind of jump in production could Jalen McLeod make?
I think that him and Kieron Crawford have been sort of the stars of fall camp. And I think part of the reason Auburn had to switch up over there at left tackle was because those two were giving them so much trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Jalen, I think he's had a good off season, bigger, stronger. I think better. He understands what it is to make it through an SEC season now. And he's also got help, so he doesn't have to have as many snaps as he did last year. He's got Kieron Crawford, the transfer from Arkansas State in. Auburn signed 2 talented freshmen they're going to play, starting with Jamonte Waller, who they flipped from Florida late, and then Joe Phillips, a kid they beat. I think they beat out Georgia for Joe Phillips, if I'm not mistaken, in-state player, is really talented, sort of making that transition from playing more linebacker to playing that defensive end, edge type guy, the buck linebackers, what Auburn calls it now. So they feel much better about that position this year compared to last.
We haven't even mentioned the running back spot. I mean, is it just going to be, I mean, it's obviously very, 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 very talented.
Right.
But on Saturday, I mean, it's a good chance to get a lot of guys some live hits carrying that ball.
Yeah, they've been real careful with those guys too. And I think that's one of Freeze's concerns is were they physical enough, this fall, but they've got a few games to play physical right before they get into the SEC schedule against Arkansas and Oklahoma. But yeah, I think you'll see a rotation. I think you'll see plenty of Jarquez Hunter and Damari Alston early, and depending on how the game goes, then you'll see a lot of Jeremiah Cobb and, some of the guys like Justin Jones and Sean Jackson too. So I would expect all those guys to get work on Saturday.
And interesting, I know Caleb Jones. He's been on our show several times, and he does a really good job covering recruiting for you guys. I noticed that he retweeted something
A-Train.
Alvin Henderson, the running back commit, the 5-star running back commit from Elba, who had a huge first game this past Friday, is hinting at a flip for Auburn. Could this be the one you talked about 2 or 3 weeks ago when you were on our show, and you were hearing some things about Deuce Knight potentially flipping from Notre Dame to Auburn?
Yeah, and we've heard now that it was coming closer to the end of this month. So we're getting closer in this month. So maybe it is happening, which would be incredible for Auburn to do that. And of course, they just a few days ago got Nathaniel Marshall from Michigan, our number one strong side defensive in the country from Illinois. Flipped him, a great addition. And that defensive line is just looking even better for next year, right? If they can get the quarterback that they want, that would be just an incredible pickup for this class. And certainly looks like a stone cold lock to be a top 5 class, the way it's going right now and the way they're set up to finish.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way. I mean, it would be no doubt if they could get the quarterback. And it's interesting because most schools, including Alabama, get the QB flipped first, or they get their QB committed and they build the class around it. Auburn has done the exact opposite.
Yeah, it hasn't been because that's the way they wanted it, right?
Oh, no.
That's the way it's worked out. They would love to get a 26 quarterback as soon as possible so they don't have to go through this again. But, this is big boy recruiting, so to speak, and Auburn's right in the middle of it.
Certainly is, no doubt. Brian, it's going to be an interesting opener against Alabama A&M. Should be able to play a lot of guys, as Scott said. They should be able to get a lot, some quality reps for folks. What are the things that you're looking, the 2 or 3 things you're looking for the most out of this Auburn team? We believe they're going to win. They're going to win impressively, but what are you watching the closest?
Yeah, absolutely. 100% Peyton Thorne in the passing game, right? That's the thing that killed Auburn last year. And, everybody feels like it's going to be good, and we've seen the improvement in certain areas, but you want to see it out there on the field in the game and see it happen. So, I want to see Peyton Thorne get his eyes downfield and get it to these guys, these really talented receivers, and let them make plays. So that's what I'll be looking for. This should be an opportunity against a team that should be outmatched by Auburn, Alabama A&M, and give them an opportunity to get some confidence in that and be able to do that a little bit more, because it's not going to be that easy once they get into the meat of the SEC schedule.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Yeah, they're going to have to. They got to get the timing down. There's no doubt about it, but it's very intriguing. Yep. As Scott said, second year for Peyton Thorne and this new wide receiver core and an offensive line that could be a year better as well. So many of those guys were transfers as well from a year ago.
And a staff that Hugh Freeze has said even during fall camp just feels like there's better flow, there's better rhythm to it.
Oh, I think that's definitely true, and I definitely think that's a part of the potential improvement I think that can happen this season. That'll be an important part of it that people aren't going to talk about as much because it's kind of behind the scenes. But I think Hugh Freeze is much happier with this year's staff. I think they gel much more with the way he likes to coach, and I just think he's feels like maybe he doesn't have everything on his plate. He can trust people to do things that he needs to get done while he puts time into recruiting and what he needs to do on offense.
Do you think is it something that'll be a factor, or is it just one of those things that we're just going to not even pay attention to, the fact that Hugh Freeze can actually talk to Peyton Thorne in his head now for a little bit to kind of calm him down or talk to him in those 10 or 15 seconds?
I think that's really interesting because, when I first heard about this, I thought, well, that's going to speed things up and they're going to be able to do things. But it seems like the opposite happens. It slows things down because the defense just waits until, the 15-second expires and then they make their whatever adjustment they're going to make. So I don't know how it's going to actually affect games. It'll be interesting to see what it does. But I just don't know now. It's confusing to me in some ways because I think if you line up and have your play and within 10 seconds you can see where the defense is, you do it and go. But apparently it's slowing people down. They're talking about huddling more. So I'm still trying to figure out exactly how that's going to look on the field.
Well, we certainly are looking forward to seeing how Auburn looks. Cam Coleman, Keandre Lambert-Smith, Sam Jackson V, Perry Uno Thompson, all these new pieces and how they're going to, Bryce Kane as well. We haven't mentioned Kane enough probably with the plays he made in fall camp, but certainly going to be a very interesting start to the season for Auburn against our friends from Alabama A&M coming up on Saturday inside Jordan Hare Stadium. Brian, we really appreciate the time and let everybody know how to connect with you.
I appreciate that, and they can get full coverage here at auburnsports.com. Just put out Monday Music Morning, which is sponsored by the delicious Uncle Keith's Red Sauce, available at Publix, Piggly Wiggly, and Renfro statewide. You can get 15% online order using BMAT15 discount code. You can check me out on Twitter/X and Threads at BMATAU, and we'll have plenty of coverage of Hugh Freeze's press conference later this afternoon. We talk to players and get a little bit of time at practice tomorrow afternoon.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it, guys.
Let's get a break in. More Talking Ball when we return from your phone calls. And we got to hear from Caitlin DeBoer. A lot to get to.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got an injury rate reported now. Triana and Holmes. Got one working in Limestone County, 72 in Cambridge. That one should be just about ready to clear. And one in Decatur, 500 block of Fremont. That's near 5th Avenue. That one should be about ready to go. Snelling needs an experienced accountant indicator. It's a growing company with great benefits. Snelling, how the area's best companies hire talent. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
This week on our high school streaming network, over the airwaves, the Buckhorn Bucks will be traveling to Athens to take on the Golden Eagles. Zone 2 and Zone 3 will square off at Bill Washington Stadium as Madison Academy plays host to Randolph. Zone 4 is the Sparkman Senators playing host to Hillcrest Tuscaloosa. Zone 5 features the Westminster Christian Academy Wildcats traveling to play Plainview. Plus, our game of the week from Joe Davis Stadium features the Bob Jones Patriots and the Lee Generals.
Are you feeling tired? Are you feeling sluggish? Gentlemen, Game Day Men's Health. Game Day Men's Health is here to help you. Braden is here. Braden, you've got the answers.
Thanks, Scott. Whether it's low T, erectile dysfunction, weight loss, or a number of other things, we have a solution for them.
It's Game Day Men's Health. Give them a call today at
256-850-1570.
You can find them online.
GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
Hey, what man wouldn't like to have tests done in a man cave?
That's right. Come in for your free test and consultation, walk into a world-class staff, a comfortable, relaxed environment, and we got your results in about 20 minutes with appointments less than an hour.
And the big game is always on the TV. It's Game Day Men's Health. Give them a call.
256-850-1570.
You can find them online at GameDayMen'sHealth.com/Huntsville/The Zone.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked the reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
Hey, Huntsville. Looking for action-packed events? The Huntsville Sports Commission is your hub for all things sports. From youth events to national tournaments, we've got events that thrill and inspire. Whether you're an athlete, a fan, or a volunteer, there's something for everyone. Cheer on your favorite teams, witness amazing talent, and be a part of the excitement. Check out our event calendar and get involved at huntsvillesports.com. That's huntsvillesports.com. Be there, Huntsville.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com. Next time you're online looking for landscaping inspiration, open Instagram and check out Southern Gent Landscaping. They can help make your yard your dream outdoor oasis. Southern Gent Landscaping can handle it all, from landscape maintenance and installation to irrigation and hardscapes, even AstroTurf. Turn your yard into a landscape you'll be proud to show off. Call Southern Gent Landscaping at 256-509-6088. 509-6088. Southern Gent Landscaping. Professional landscaping performed with satisfaction guaranteed.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, 8:25 on a Monday morning. Coming up on Saturday, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. We're going to be cranking up some Alabama football, Western Kentucky. The Kalen DeBoer. How does the dude say it? We still have the commercial running.
Here we go.
We still have the promo running. It's an Alabama promo that mispronounces the head coach's name.
It's DeBoer. DeBoer.
Yeah.
DeBoer, not DuBoer. It's DeBoer.
And he says DuBoer on it.
Redo it.
I know. It's the Kalen DeBoer era.
No, redo the commercial. Why have we not yanked it?
I don't, huh? I know. Kalen DeBoer era.
Of course, if it was Kirby Smart, he'd be all about it. But, I mean, that's another story for another day.
Anyway, the era gets underway. A lot has been talked about the defense. The Kalen DeBoer show was taped over the weekend. It aired yesterday. Here is what the coach had to say about the Alabama defense. There's been a lot of talk about the secondary and everything like that. Here's the coach on the show yesterday.
Yeah, that's a lot of guys, and
That's a good problem.
That's a good problem. But I think you start with our guys who are captains, and Malachi Moore, and a lot of the snaps that he's taken, along with Deontay Lawson. Just the stability that they bring, and it's the presence that they have that is just so impressive each and every day. And there's never a drop off in their focus, their leadership, and that those two, just the playmaking is part of it. And it goes on to, the guys that are playing next to him, and a Keon Sabb, and, Jihad Campbell, and linebacking corps has done a nice job. Justin Jefferson's done a great job, really rising up and bringing it, not just on defense, but also, in special teams. And so, up front, it's been a lot of different faces that are rotating through there. And you naturally look to a Tim Smith, you naturally, think about, bigger guys, right? And I'm excited about what Jaheim Mobitus has done interior-wise and what he could be. Jamarian Latham on the edge, along with LT Overton, have been constant pass rushers, guys that can cause a lot of problems in the backfield. Again, I know I'm missing a lot of guys, but it's been really fun seeing them compete. The cornerback position, it's got a mix of, a guy who's played some snaps and a lot of guys who haven't, with that position being very young. And so I'm excited for what these guys have done defensively. They really feed off each other. I think the front, creates enough problem to where the back half can, take advantage of opportunities and make plays. But I also think the back half has done a good job of being on the same page to where, they buy a little extra second for the defensive front to do their thing as well.
Well, hope so. I mean, we heard about Florida State doing their thing all preseason, and they sure as hell got their ass blocked. But I mean, hey, that's what happens. Sometimes you don't realize till you get into a real game against another opponent that why that guy was rushing so well, because the tackle ain't worth 10 cents. But I mean, hopefully Alabama's going to have a good football team. I do believe they will. I still think iron sharpens iron. It's a pretty good opponent. They're playing Western Kentucky, but it's one they should have success against, no doubt about it. So no excuses.
Yeah.
So you got to go out and play. And I do think that it was I thought a great sign that the defense asserted themselves in the second scrimmage. The offense still made plays, but they played very physically, and I think they sent a message. And hopefully they're going to send one on Saturday. Somebody told me, and I recorded BAM's radio yesterday, that Alabama was a 31-point favorite. I don't know if I quite believe they're going to cover that. Now they might score 50 points. I didn't have them covering, but we'll see. I mean, I think, I think Western's a good team. Ty Helton's been there since 2018. They returned their quarterback, who Alabama's very familiar with, and TJ Finley. So we'll see how Alabama plays defensively. I think I picked 48-13, something like that. But,
According to ESPN this morning, Alabama sitting at they're kicking off what time? 6 o'clock?
Yeah.
So let's go right down here. 6 o'clock, Alabama. Well, I'll have to get it for you. It was supposed to be right. Okay, here we go. Yeah, sitting at a 31-point
I mean, I got a backdoor covering, but
59.5 is your over-under.
Yeah, and that's
for that game right now. We'll see.
Right out around there.
We'll see. All right, we do got to get a break in when we come back. Jake Crane going to sit in with us. Got to talk to Jake Crane. It's been since SEC Media Day since we visited with him.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got an injury wreck, Winchester and Dogwood Ridge. Also, the 100 block of Riverwalks coming in with injury. Triana and Holmes had injury and entrapment reported. They canceled rescue on it. Everything else from earlier appears to be cleared out of the way. Now we got one coming in Decatur, 6th in the Beltline. That one may have a county deputy unit involved in it. Dr. Sandman has the Somnodent, a safe, insurance-approved alternative for snoring and sleep apnea. Dr. Randall Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Embark on a flavorful journey at the Brewers Cooperative. Located within the vibrant community hub of Stovehouse in Huntsville, our brewery isn't just about crafting exceptional beers. It's a destination where culinary delights and local brews harmonize. Whether you're seeking a laid-back lunch or a lively dinner with friends, our diverse menu has something to please every palate. With a commitment to quality and a passion for innovation, we invite you to savor the unique flavors of Huntsville's craft beer scene at the Brewers Cooperative. Call 256-678-7036. The Brewers Cooperative.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that his mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
Hi, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. We mentioned Alabama sitting at a 31-point favorite over Western Kentucky to get things started. Other games around the league, well, we would show you some other ones, but South Carolina is a 21-point favorite on Saturday over Old Dominion. We'll see how that one goes. But the Auburn Tigers at home against Alabama A&M. That one is off the board because it's an FCS game.
Yes, no question about it. Auburn's going to name their score there. They're going to be very impressive. Hugh Freeze is going to get off to a good start. It's the kind of opener they need with all these new receivers, new pieces on both sides of the ball. They need to gain some confidence. There's no doubt about it. And I think Florida State certainly could have used that now that we watched them against Georgia Tech. And we're going to talk about that and more with our next guest. He's just coming off of his show from 6:30 to 8 each weekday morning in the city of Nashville. It's Crane and Company, brought to you by the Real Daily Wire. And he will be joining us, as he always does during football season, on a weekly basis. And that's Jake Crane. Jake, good morning.
Guys, how's it going?
Yeah, we're
good.
Not good for Florida State. What were the thoughts on the Seminoles and the Jackets this morning on Crane and Company?
Well, look, I mean, if you listen to us, at the end of the day with DJU, we thought Georgia Tech was going to cover. Now, we thought Florida State would find a way late, and they almost did just because of the advantage that we thought they still had offensive line versus Georgia Tech's defensive line. But look, there is no plan B when DJU is the quarterback. He's not a guy that, whether you fall behind or it's a tight game and you want to be balanced and be able to mix it up, we don't think he can make those 3 to 5 throws to be able to win the game. There were a couple. I mean, there was a comeback that he fit in there that was good. There was a dig that was good. But then again, there were some routine throws, even going back, to the first couple drives on some completions where he was behind, where he was late. And Santucci, the DC at Georgia Tech, just made the decision, look, if we get in third and passing, 3rd and 5 or more, we're just going to heat you up and play a game called Can You Throw It and Beat Us? And he wasn't able to do it down the stretch, actually. On the other hand, Haynes King, the Georgia Tech quarterback, was the guy who made all the big plays on 3rd down. So, look, at the end of the day, FSU, and it looked like they were early, going to be able to bully Georgia Tech. But you got to tip your hat to Georgia Tech coming back and scoring and then kind of tightening up in that front 7. So we weren't shocked. My brother actually took the score to be tied at halftime at plus 920 and hit that bet after that 59-yard field goal or whatever. So we knew it was off to a good start.
Is this the good thing, though, about this new era in college football, that that one loss to Florida State doesn't take them out of the whole entire picture?
Mm-hmm.
They still have things ahead of them. They still have time to fix it. They still have time to get better. But can this Florida State team get better? And a lot of the things that we saw, was it just game one stuff, or is it trends for Florida State that is areas for concern?
Well, you can always get better, but the question is, what's the ceiling of this team's offensive potential? I think the interior of the defensive line will get better as they progress. We know they're talented on the pass rushing edges, and in the secondary, they're pretty talented. But offensively, I mean, look, DJU's 35 years old, guys. Like, how much better is this cat going to get?
Right.
Like, we at some point, seeing a young kid develop, and even a guy like Jordan Travis at Florida State, who it took 3 years to get there. I just feel like we know who DJU is, and there is no more Johnny Wilson to help out. There is no more Jaheim Bell. There is no Keon Coleman. I like Malik Benson. I like some of these other pieces, but you lost pretty much everything, including a guy in Jordan Travis that was an underrated thrower. So with Florida State's schedule, they'll be able to line up and bully some teams. But when it comes down to playing teams that have as good players or maybe even slightly better, I don't think the ceiling for DJU in this offense is much higher than what we just saw.
And then I guess Brent Keith's been sneaking around, and again, Georgia Tech, we're not saying they're making the playoff, but obviously we talked about this earlier in the show and we'll talk about Dabo in just a second. They got Georgia, but Dabo, no one saw it coming when he got the Clemson job and it worked out. Maybe this is going to be a good fit for Brent Keith at Georgia Tech.
Well, it's off to a heck of a start, and new North Carolina defensive coordinator and old Georgia Tech head coach Jeff Collins was thinking about him the other night. He never could really get it off the ground because of the linemen.
Yeah,
and that's one of the hardest parts about being at Georgia Tech, right? When you have kind of the academics that they have, that's why they just got Rivals 100 offensive lineman and Josh Petty. I tell you, it seems like he's flipping the script because he's getting guys in there that can play and at least stalemate some of these, quote unquote, big time brands at the line of scrimmage. But look, I mean, at the end of the day, Georgia Tech just had the dog in him at the end of the game that Florida State didn't. I mean, Georgia Tech wasn't walking away from that field without a win. And sometimes when you realize, hey, maybe we are who we thought we were, that gives you a lot of confidence about halfway through the third quarter, and that's what it looked like for Georgia Tech.
So that gave us a surprise in week 0. I mean, they got the thing started in a good way. Now we get week 1, which was already an anticipated week of college football. What can happen this week? Is there another one that we can say, hey, look, let's not overlook this game?
Oh, anything your heart desires. I mean, we got a little bit of everything. Look, I tell you, everybody keeps talking about this North Dakota State, Colorado State game on Thursday, and I get it. I mean, Montana State was a 12-point, 13-point favorite going into New Mexico where they barely won. What I keep trying to tell everybody is, look, South Dakota State is the new North Dakota State, and they're going to play at Oklahoma State, and it's only a 10-point spread, and that money's coming in on South Dakota State, even up to this morning. So I don't think you'd be crazy to maybe buy that thing up to 10.5 for South Dakota State or see if it'll kind of go north there. But just all across the country, I mean, Miami, Florida is huge. I mean, I think that game, in reality is worth at least 3 years for the Florida program and possibly 2 for Miami. A lot of people think that, Billy Napier's this terrible coach. Yeah, he's 11-14 in 2 years at Florida. Well, Mario Cristobal's 12-13, so it's not like it's much better. This is a must-win game, I think, for both, even though if you're Miami, you got a much better shot at making the playoff out of the ACC. So this would be a huge win for you. Texas A&M, Notre Dame, that's going to be massive. But just, seeing some of these other matchups that I think there's some teams that I think can be kind of under the radar that are sneaky. I just want to see how Utah and Cam Rising look coming off that injury, right? Avery Johnson and Kansas State, Nico and Tennessee, that offense, how are they operating? Heck, even Oklahoma and Temple, I want to see how Jackson Arnold meshes with that new fully replaced offensive line. So even though there may not be marquee games for every team, we're going to find out a lot about some of these younger teams early, as well as the primetime matchups. And then, guys, we got LSU, USC, and Las Vegas. I just need that total to keep coming down. You won't get to 62.
Well, who do you like in that game? I like LSU, but do you like LSU in Vegas?
I do like LSU in Vegas for a couple reasons. I think Blake Baker is going to simplify the defense even a little bit more for LSU, kind of take a lot of the thinking out of it. I'm interested to see what he's going to do with Harold Perkins.
Yeah.
But I look at advantage versus advantage, right? We know both these offenses should probably be better than both these defenses, but which offense has the biggest advantage? And I look at LSU. You can make the case they have the best offensive line in the country going up against a USC defensive line. Even though they got rid of the DC and they got bigger, there's a lot of guys look like Tarzan, played like Jane, and that's what I kind of feel like USC is going to be on defense a little bit this year.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't like Lincoln Riley's football team. I don't like their physicality. I like LSU in that game on a neutral field. I'd like Texas A&M to knock off Notre Dame. Otherwise, Notre Dame can set themselves up. Who do you like in that matchup? You mentioned it already.
Yeah, look, I got A&M when they were, I think, 1.5. It's up to 3 now, maybe even over 3.5. I tell you what, I kind of like the under 2 in this game. The matchup is really interesting, not just because Riley Leonard was at Duke and Mike Elko was at Duke, but when you look at the way both these coaches go about it, there's going to be a lot of feeling each other out at the beginning. You have 2 defensive coaches, so I think you're going to get a lot of conservative decisions, whether that be to go for it or kick a field goal, whether that be to go for it or punt it, whether that be to open up the offense a little bit more and maybe take that shot on 3rd and 12. I think the coach that actually takes the most chances in this game is going to win. Mike Elko's playing with house money. It's your first game at Texas A&M. You got Notre Dame at home, and Notre Dame doesn't have a conference. So if they lose this one, it's not like, oh, well, we can still go win our conference and make the playoff. A&M can still do that, boys. I got A&M going 10-2 anyway. So
Oh, wow.
Well, it is the first game for Kalen DeBoer at Alabama, and they should handle Western Kentucky, a 31-point favorite. They should handle it. When you look at this game and you look at Alabama, what do you look at? What do you look at, or what do you want to see from Alabama that'll convince you that, hey, I mean, we know that they have the chances, the material to be a playoff team. But what do you look at from Alabama in this opener?
Well, just like everybody, I'm interested to see how Kalen DeBoer, and he said he was going to do this, kind of personalizes his system for Jalen Milroe, right? We know what it's looked like with Ryan Grubb as the OC there, with a quarterback like Michael Penix, where you want to get it and rip it and spin it outside, be able to use that quick passing game as an extension of the run game. But I want to see, is this an offense that is tailored to Jalen Milroe's strengths? How much is he on the move? Are they trying to turn him into Drew Brees instead of just letting him breeze by other people? And then how much are they showing? Because, again, you look at Alabama's schedule, they're better than Western Kentucky. They got that Wisconsin game coming up. That South Florida game, Alabama should beat South Florida, and they should beat them comfortably, but that isn't the walk in the park I think a lot of people think it is. This isn't, Alabama didn't have to play a lacrosse player at quarterback, but it's still not going to be easy. But just how much the system is personalized to Jalen Milroe and how much Alabama actually shows, or is it just peanut butter and jelly and vanilla ice cream out there on Saturday?
Yeah, and then with Auburn, I think they're gonna look impressive, but I want to see their offensive line, especially now that they're kind of tinkering with the left side, and then these receivers. I mean, Auburn hasn't been explosive, in several years. I mean, I know probably since 2017 when Kerryon Johnson had such a great years, and then they nearly made the playoff. They haven't had an explosive offense, but they've got this new receiver core that I'm anxious to see. And people forget Jarquez Hunter wasn't with the team at the start of last year due to the off the field situation. But they've got Alston as well. But I guess we're not going to really know how much better Auburn is, I guess, until they play Cal.
Yeah, look, it's going to be tough. A lot of people were beat at birth in this game. But if you're an Auburn fan, really what you're looking for, number one is how organized are you, right?
Right.
Especially being the first game with new guys. Are people lining up correctly? Are you getting procedural penalties? Are guys, doing what they're supposed to do even when they're not getting the ball? You look at special teams, right, having that handled. So there's always something you can tell. Right, how's the communication with the new in-helmet stuff, and really just Peyton Thorne's decision-making. I don't think they got enough talk about last year. Peyton Thorne coming from a drop-back pro-style system into what's an RPO zone run scheme. And even though you played a lot of football, your dad may be a coach, that takes a little bit of time. So I'm interested to see when you're playing a team that you're better than, you're faster than, you're bigger than, you can push around. It should make the decision-making easier. I'm hoping he makes the right decision, even if that's to throw the ball away or check it down.
That helmet in communication, that in-game communication thing, it was kind of different watching that Georgia Tech Florida State game and seeing the quarterbacks trying to hear what's going on in their ears.
Well, I always laugh and say, like, oh my God, this is going to revolutionize the sport. I try to tell people, listen, I don't think you understand how plays get communicated. It may actually take us back in time where people have to huddle because only one of you has a mic in your helmet. You've got to tell everybody else what to do, or they got to get the signal from the sideline. So if you thought signaling was dead, no, Connor Stallion still has the job. You still got the signal.
Yeah, you do. Well, I thought Nick Saban, one thing he said on game day, he said, look, my guys were so used to the last 10 years not having to face a huddle and all this hurry up, no huddle stuff that when Michigan was huddling, they had trouble adjusting.
Yeah. Who'd have thought future technology could take us back in time? I wonder what they're going to invent next. We're going to be wearing leather helmets and everybody's going to run the veer.
Yeah, we'll see. No doubt about it. Well, Jake, we appreciate it. Great stuff as always. Let everybody know about Crane & Company. We look forward to your insights and thoughts each and every Monday after the weekend of college football.
Oh, definitely. Well, we're breaking it down and getting you ready for what's going to be a crazy weekend in college football, and it's not going to stop here for a while. We're actually going in the afternoon. Well, I guess early afternoon now, Drew, from 2 to 3:30.
Okay, my bad. Okay.
You're good. No, it's a perfect ability for me to talk about the change. And yeah, we have live calls, live chat, CRAIN Company. We're up 11 units last week. So feeling good about the betting so far. Let's see if we don't jinx it and keep it up.
Well, less coffee now, or that was some early rise.
No, less coffee. Never less coffee. It's just actually probably more now that I think about it. But yeah, no, it's we love it, man. It's a great time. The news can actually break, and
that's true.
I can see my wife when I wake up.
There you go. 2 to 3. 2 to 3:30.
Looking at me, yeah.
2 to 3:30. Jake going to be a dad soon. 2 to 3:30. Crane & Company. We appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Let's get that final break in. Tomorrow's headlines will wrap us up next.
I just haven't looked at
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Had a reported indicator, 6th in the belt line. It's a no injury. Sounds like it does have a county vehicle involved, though, so it may take a few minutes to clear. Had a couple of wrecks reported, Winchester and Dogwood Ridge and the 100 block of Riverwalk. Both of those may be working. Triana and Holmes paged out with injury and entrapment. They cancel rescue on it. And 72 in Cambridge Lane in Limestone County is gone now. With more than 30 years experience, D&L Refrigeration can save you money on your heating and air conditioning repairs. 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Eck in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Eagle Masonry and Insulation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve. and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Stan McDonald. Stan, tell everybody why you're the best damn dirt lawyer in North Alabama.
Yes, Wes, at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. You know I'm a dirt lawyer, and a lot of our friends know that, which means we specialize in real estate. Now, if you own real estate or you're buying it or you're selling it, you need to do a closing, but a lot of times there's legal issues associated with that. We're a great group to talk to. My son, Lewis McDonald, heads our commercial closing division, and we approach your real estate needs very seriously. We seek to be the premier real estate closing company in North Alabama, and we do it in such a way it shows that we're experienced, we're for your success. We like to handle your real estate needs the same way Coach Dan Reeves used to say, never let them see you sweat. And that's going to be to your benefit, too, when you visit us at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. Our website online is jacobtitle.com.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
After 3 months in the hospital, Auburn's Brian Battie was released.
That's great news, man.
From a Sarasota Memorial Hospital earlier last week. Remember, he was shot in his hometown back in May. He had been hospitalized since late June. He was discharged from the ICU, cleared to eat solid food just last month. He was able to walk using a cane after the initial prognosis via court documents were permanent paralysis.
Yeah.
So Brian Battie continues to make recovery, which is good news. So it was a special day for he and his family to get out of that hospital. Now it's a rehab. You know, he's got a long road to go. Long road to go.
Way to go.
But the good news is he is out of the hospital.
Yeah, no question. It was a tragedy, and he's very lucky to be alive. And so hopefully he's going to be continue on that road to recovery. It's a blessing that he's now out of the hospital. That's great to hear. But I also want to say too, we want to give our thoughts and prayers out this weekend though.
Yeah.
Because of the loss of the young man at Morgan Academy. That's just something you don't hear about very often. And that's of course Caden Tallier, the quarterback, the young man at Morgan Academy in the AISA who tragically passed away after sustaining a traumatic head injury in the football game.
Yeah.
It's just something you don't see very often. And he sustained that injury. He was rushed to the hospital and passed away on Saturday. And I just can't imagine what that community is going through. And thoughts and prayers to all those folks over in the Selma community who lost that young man much too soon. I mean, that was surreal to start hearing about those reports on Saturday morning. with this young man.
Yeah. He was the quarterback. It was an injury
Yep.
during his team's home game against Southern Academy on
Mhm.
Friday.
That's right.
Just a tough one.
Yeah.
Tough. And again, that is the AISA.
Look, I mean, and we've seen guys sustain neck injuries and things of that nature, but you just don't see injuries of that just of that seriousness very often. And that's just a tragedy, man.
All right, 256-576-4977 if you want to join us. It happened in the third quarter. He was airlifted to a Birmingham hospital. There was some confusion on the weekend about his condition, but later it was all confirmed. They have suspended all school activities for the coming week, has Morgan Academy. Don't forget, though, coming up tomorrow or Wednesday, we will have our first edition of our Bryant Bank Team of the Week. That is back, and we will have that. We'll cipher through all of the week 0 scores and everything else like that to figure out who will bring home the first Bryant Bank Team of the Week for the year. So we got that coming up. Tomorrow, we can tell you, Connell Maynard will join the show from Alabama A&M as they get ready to take on the Auburn Tigers. So the head coach of Alabama A&M will join us tomorrow.
And we're looking forward to talking to Alex Scarborough of Bama 247.
Yep.
And we'll be coming off of the Caitlin DeBoer.
You sure? You sure it's not Dubor? You sure it's not Dubor?
No. It is not. It's DeBoer. We even had the first friggin' coaches show yesterday. Everybody pay attention. But you'll learn how to pronounce his name when he whips your ass. Just count on that.
It's the Kalen DuBois era.
Good grief. Get a brain, some of y'all.
Play with it?
Or something. Those are the people that need to be banned. Okay? Not somebody that tells the truth that Coach Prime's overrated.
Oh, we'll find out on Saturday.
No, they're playing Thursday.
Or Friday, Thursday, whenever. All right, we'll be back at it tomorrow morning. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone.